devastating Earth events can happen when Mars and Saturn come into a square relationship to each other. And we may have more natural disasters as a result of the square that we're going to experience coming through the sky this week ahead, which plays out even until about the 3rd of September. Welcome to the astrology for the week of August the 24th to the 30th. And it is a difficult week. I'm not going to lie. I got to say it like I see it. Like I see it is pretty difficult. Mars and Saturn will be squaring pretty well all week long. And it also happens under difficult circumstances for both planets. Mars is fallen and so is Saturn. Mars in a very intense nakshatra, a lunar mansion that has to do with storms, both literal and metaphoric. In today's video, we're going to cover a little bit of that world astrology while at the same time bringing the silver lining, Asteroid Ops, happy endings after time of difficulty. This cornucopia of opportunity, goodness, and resolve comes through the sky as well. In today's video, we're also going to bring some other minor asteroids into the story, and yeah, I'm going to say it. The asteroid Wuhan Pan, for panic or pandemic, is very active this week ahead. We're going to talk about how Mars and Saturn in this opening square are also coming off of something that began on April the 19th. When it comes to Mars, we want to think conflict, war, and aggression, battles, unaliving stories. When we think of Saturn, we want to think of constriction, restriction. We also want to think of hardship. I'm going to talk about what happened on April 19th or around that time when Mars and Saturn co-joined in Aries, because what's happening this week ahead? This week's 1 week story kind of thing about Mars, Saturn in a square is Act 1 of a 3-act structure. We don't see the close of this entire story that was germinated at the seed moment of April 19th, 2026, until we move into the month of April 2028. One of the things I keep trying to teach everybody here in Astroland on YouTube is nothing is about the day of the event. Everything is a part of a longer synodic cycle. In this case, the synodic cycle between the meeting of Saturn and Mars, which happens every 2 years. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Lothian, and this, of course, is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology, not sidereal. I do know that I brought the nakshatra, which is sidereal, but we can use nakshatras, star constellations, just as effectively in Western Tropical Astrology. I'm very excited, by the way, to let you know that my Sky Reader doors are open for September the 19th, 7 weeks live with me. Come join me, learn astrology, be a part of a fun and incredibly powerful international assembly of students. Every year I teach this, 7th season in. And if you want to know more about this 7-week live class, 6 guest teachers, weekly Q&As, 2 Q&A calls a week, covering all time zones so you can get your questions asked. All of that stuff, all that information is in the description box below. In Sky Reader, I'm teaching you how to time your best life by reading the map of time, which is the map of the sky. I'm also teaching you the basic language of astrology so you can read the sky. This is a boot camp. There's no doubt about it. Not certifying you. Okay, I'm not certifying you to become a professional astrologer. In fact, I've heard of one astrologer saying you can become a professional astrologer in a 12-week program. I'm like, that astrologer is not telling you the truth. But what I am giving you is an opportunity for you to be able to use the sky for your friends, your family, yourself. So come aboard for the 19th of September start date, Saturday. Everything you need to know about Sky Reader is in the description box below. Click the link to the website or go to the end of the video where I talk about it as well. Today's Monday drop is also about my members only drop. At the end, we'll have a members only deeper dive into some of the treacherous sky that I see, where I can speak more freely about names of countries and people where, I'm not going to be demonetized or deplatformed. So welcome. Let's get started. And if you like this kind of all sign content melded with world astrology, I would appreciate you guys coming aboard and liking, subscribing to my channel. All right, so here we have, I'm going to show something to you. I'm going to show you the sky in a minute, but first I want you to get a pen or a paper or some kind of device to record what I'm about to tell you. And I'm not to want to be a nitpick here. I sound like a nitpick, but why would you do astrology if you cannot learn how to use this? Why listen to YouTube astrology at all if you don't learn about how you actually can use it, as opposed to think that this is going to be your story this week? much larger story cycle is playing out here. So if you take a pen and paper, write down approximately April 19th, 2026, give it a few days before, a couple days after, what was happening in your life at that time. The seed was planted in Aries where Saturn is sitting. Saturn is only in Aries for 2.5 years every 30. So, it's qualitatively rare. And Mars is somebody who doesn't mind being in the sign of Aries. That's his home kingdom. But he has an agenda for war. He has an agenda for plagues. War and plagues are two of his specialties: conflict, aggression, war, plagues, etc. So he joined with Saturn in Aries back on April the 19th. He has the upper hand in Aries. From there, second act for your life is going to be September 1st, when August 31st, September 1st, when the square between Mars and Cancer in a sign of his fall at 13 degrees of Cancer will be squaring 13-degree retrograde Saturn in Aries. In other words, this is bad for both planets to be in debility. This is not anybody feeling particularly strong. The gift, I guess, if I have to say anything, Mars is telling Saturn what to do, but Mars is in rough shape. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. And we add the nakshatra about conflict and war. We'll get to that in a minute, or difficulty. Then we're going to talk about the next point in your life. So I want you to pivot these stories because they're all leading to one grand conclusion in 2028. So then we move into the opposition, where Mars and Saturn are now directly opposite each other. A square is 9 degrees and opposition is 180 degrees. That's happening on August the 29th, all right? 2027. All right, August 2027, August 29th, and that's going to be Mars at 27 degrees of Libra in a sign of debility, or we would call it exile. So Mars isn't in good shape for that one either. And Saturn is still fallen in Aries, and that is something to be a little concerned about. It'll be at 27 degrees of those signs, Aries and Libra. And then the last square, the closing square, the waning square, so to speak, between Mars and Saturn will occur on December the 23rd, 2027, and Mars will be at 21 degrees of Capricorn, a sign of his exaltation, squaring a fallen Saturn. Mars has the upper hand. This is going to be points in a story that don't complete till April of 2028. Usually they're about world events, but in your own life, Mars wants you to take action on something and make some pivotal choices and decisions, and Saturn wants caution and perseverance, and sometimes stagnation. Sometimes it's like the cliche we use in astrology is foot on the gas and the brake at the same time when we see Mars and Saturn opposing or squaring each other. There's an area where when push comes to shove, yeah. Or you could say you hit a wall. You hit a wall in some area of your life. When we do the all signs, I'll be talking about where this frustration, this grip may occur for you in the all signs portion. Now, let's get away from the timetable that I just gave you. If I'm talking fast today, that's because I had a good night's sleep. Believe it or not. So that's how I talk normally. I'm not nervous. You can slow me down on the playback speed. And I'm recording this for you on August the 15th, 2026. So the next thing I want to bring our attention to is what happened on April the 19th. Now, not on just the day, but around that time. What were the trending stories in the news? Because you'll see what I mean. Those stories that I'm about to describe to you, those archetypal stories that are going on in the world, will come back again. It will be part 2 from the first seed planting in April. So one of the major stories in April was that the Strait of Hormuz was closed again. That was when Iran decided to reverse their brief opening of the strait, because they were not finding the United States particularly compliant with, the process that had been agreed upon. And in fact, they were blaming the United States for maritime interference already. And Donald Trump was asserting that the naval blockade on Iranian ports was going to stay there until a deal was reached. I hate the word deal when it comes to war. This is not like a transaction where you're going to, barter in a market over a better price for your handbag. This is war. This is lives. Lives have been lost. Lives that'll never be coming back again. Young men have died. Women have died. Children at girls' school have died. On both sides of the fence, there have been losses of life. And it really is silly and disturbing when I keep hearing the word deal. It's not the art of the deal. All right. This is some this is some dumbing down. Even when Reuters headline is Trump says a deal is pending, a deal, a deal, a deal. How about a peace treaty? How about a peace agreement? How about a negotiation? How about a ceasefire? The deal word is really wearing thin on me. Anyone else in the comments want to let me know how you feel about the deal phraseology on people's lives being lost in war? And at the same time, around April the 19th, or like in the middle of April or thereabouts, there was a big attack on Lebanon, okay? And a French UN peacekeeper was unalived, as well as 3 others wounded. And this prompted French President Emmanuel Macron to demand arrests. Just FYI, the little blue and white flag nation state, whatever, ethno state, was the one who caused that to happen. So there was all of a sudden stalwart France saying, hey, hello, we need to like arrest somebody here. Now, we also had national disasters occurring, unfortunately, and that is something that Mars and Saturn are quite capable of producing. And that was a Columbia earthquake, and that resulted at 7.4 magnitude, I think my memory serves me, in 110 deaths at that time. And so devastating earth events can happen when Mars and Saturn come into a square relationship to each other. And we may have more natural disasters as a result of the square that we're going to experience coming through the sky this week ahead, which plays out even until about the 3rd of September. And at the same time, the West Bank was condemned, like international U.S. ambassador to Israel, okay, can denounce Israel settlers laying siege to Palestinian homes in the occupied West Bank. And China had a rocket failure when one of its rockets exploded shortly after takeoff, while Taiwan was conducting large-scale national defense and invasion war games. So I want you to remember that I said Taiwan because Taiwan's sun is in Aries, where Saturn is sitting right now in that square to Mars. So Taiwan can come back to the news story, of course, likely in context of China. And China was rocket failuring out at the time in April. So China-Taiwan stories. Okay, mark your calendars. I'm predicting, spirit in my ear, China-Taiwan stories may emerge out of the blue. China is going to take advantage maybe of United States preoccupation. So look for naval vessels, blockades, China kind of surrounding Taiwan. Things like that could happen at the end of this week into the early next week. So we're kind of talking about the 24th of, starting the 24th of August. Through until about the 3rd of September, even beyond this week. I gave you some possibilities of what we may see. When I think about world events and disasters, I think about Cancer and I think about water. I think about water and Mars, a malefic. I think about things that happen when the nakshatra that Mars is in all the way through the 12th of August to the last day of August is nakshatra Ardra. It is about disruption. It is about conflict. It is about aggression. And in fact, because I'm learning some really wonderful stuff with my teacher, I'm in the middle of a year-long program in Vedic astrology. Where's my little notes from his slide? Because I thought I'd share some of what I'm having fun learning. But of course, now that I need a piece of paper, my pieces of paper are never around. Yes, I've got it handy. All right, guys. Ardra. So I'm really having a great time learning Vedic astrology with my teacher Aswin. So if you're looking at the sidereal zodiac, this is like 6 to 20 Gemini, and you have to then move it over to Cancer for the Western tropical zodiac, different degrees. So don't ask me to do the degrees, but it is true that Mars, August 12th, day of the eclipse, is in this Ardra Nakshatra and through to the end of August. And so it can be the powerful force of a storm. It can be about potential for destruction. I think Ardra is associated with the symbol of a teardrop. It is all about endings and new beginnings. It is about obstacles to conquer. It is about the ego. And that's interesting because Ardra can be, because it's connected to desire, nature, karma, it can be the end of the ego, but it comes through calamitous, difficult, and, constructive energy, right? That we discover what's true, abiding, and real in our lives. There can be extravagance and storytelling, exaggeration, embellishment, according to my teacher Aswin's notes. And there is this sense of perhaps the natural cycles of life and death. And one other thing I want to say about Ardra, because I'm not familiar, I'm not an expert, right? I'm learning this stuff. Is it anything that when I think of a teardrop, right? I mean, there is the things that we cry over. We can cry over a beautiful rainbow and a sunset, I know, but most people don't. That takes the heart to be open. That takes presence to be here, to cry at wonder and awe. Most people cry because of destruction and difficulty, and often in a kind of a way of trauma, right? A victim, me, poor me. I can't believe this is happening, me. I remember when I'm a prescient, I'm a psychic. I feel the future. I see and feel the future. I've always had this since as a child, right? As a child. And I dream the future. And I remember, like, literally, maybe within a week of the Gaza war beginning, I was doing a video and I was talking about what I felt about it. And I felt the weight of the future. We're talking about me talking in October of 23. And I started to cry. I teared up. And people accused me of being anti-Semitic somehow. And I tried to say in the comments, no, I feel where this is going. This is not going to be a skirmish or a limited event. This is going to be devastating. And indeed it was devastating. It was a G dot 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 outside. And so we can cry, but we have to cry from, the Ardra tear, from a place of understanding that the tears that we experience, the heartfelt tears that we experience, the compassion tears, are different than the pity tears. Whatever that means to you, if that's a gift, take it today. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about self-pity tears. We're going to talk next away from that story. No more victim tears, guys. Get up on your high horse and move on. We're going to talk next instead about something else. And I can cry for other people's destruction and sadness. Believe me, I've cried more buckets of tears than I want when I saw video footage of what happened in Gaza. But I'm just trying to move us past that and say the biggest picture of destruction is to wake us up from the simulation, to wake us up from our egoic identity, to snap us out of this effing Maya illusion, Leela play of God, and see the truth of what is real and who is real, which is you and me are one. Ha! Let's get past that preaching and back to square one. We have the sky telling us about difficulty, but we have asteroid ops telling us about solutions and happy endings. I'm going to bring you over to the sky for the world event stuff right now. Then we're going to move past the world event into your sign. In your sign, I'm focusing primarily on the opportunity that's emerging from the difficulty and struggle, where there is this glowing ember of happy opportunity and happy outcome that you have an access point to in this week ahead. So don't think about it as a doomsday week. It's not that at all. All right. Not that at all. At least not in most of our lives. Let's put it that way. Let me share the screen. So here we have the sky. This is what we're looking at. This is Monday, the 24th of August. I'm using this till next week. Okay. Well, I can say through to the 31st of August, but it really goes till September 3rd. I just cleared the sky of all the distractions. Let's keep the two planets in mind. Saturn, retrograde fallen in Aries, Mars in the sign of Cancer, also in a condition of fall. Both planets are very debilitated, and Mars is moving through the teardrops of Ardra, where there is storms, destruction, and conflict. And as we see this occurring, we're going to notice something interesting. We're going to see that Mars is at the beginning of the week having just touched down with a couple of asteroids, and that is Absolute, which is to do with conspiracy theory. I'm not going to get into it, but it is an asteroid that we'd associate with the ability to see the future, but also the ability to entertain in conspiracy theory. And Absolute is also connected to basically a seer, a centaur seer, who foresaw the wedding leading to a battle between the Lapis and the centaurs. And it's about sensing the things that may be going awry. Yes, and there may be also accepting that your vision may be your vision, or just feelings, or nothing more. You may not be seeing the future properly. Conspiracies, real or imagined. Okay, so we've been in a land of conspiracies for years now. Ever since the pandemic, people are really jaded. Don't believe the governments. Don't believe the FBI, the Fed slop, as they say. Don't believe a lot of what's being propagated. The pablum, the opiate of the masses, the distractions, and the lies have started to wear thin. And yeah, I guess when Fauci took the Fifth Amendment through the entire proceeding, everybody just looked at it and went, wow, so done with this stuff. This here is also the asteroid Pan. Panic or pandemic, take your pick. Pandemonium, panic, pandemic. It kind of was very active during the actual pandemic. Mars is the god of plagues. Mars is the god of the things we would call epidemics. Mars is with a pan or pandemonium, a panic energy. Now, you can have a pandemonium or panic when there's a tidal wave, right? because, or there's a flood because this is Mars malefically inclined to be difficult in the sign of water. So keep that in mind as well. Hurricane season is here, and so devastating tropical or hurricane storms are probably likely during this time. We may see a humdinger, and Saturn would like to hold up the sandbags, the walls, the boundaries, the borders, but can't, right? Can't do it because he's debilitated in Aries. Aries can lead to places that are also full of heat, so fires, volcanoes, or places that are remote. Now, the energy here as well is that Mars, that we're talking about Monday, he's just come off the weekend, right? We also see that Mars is heading for, like aiming for some of his stories. This is panacea. He wants to help us in the week or so after the beginning of this week to come up with a panacea. It means a one size fits all solution. If everybody takes this protocol during the pandemic, nobody else will get this illness, which turned out to be untrue. There was no panacea for a pandemic that affected 1% of the population, usually the elderly or comorbid, but there was no simple solution. And because of that, we see that he's aiming for the panacea, but it's a square, suggesting because of the opposition to Saturn, there is no easy solution in sight. There is no, whatever this is, and it can be a new virus story. H1N1 maybe in 2008. Is there another bird flu coming? We have a replica of an eclipse from 2008, and we had a bird flu breakout. We may be seeing the beginning of another bird flu, avian influenza storyline coming through our news cycle at the end of August and the beginning of September. For example, also we're tracking to 2014 Ebola stories, and we may be going through Jupiter and Leo, the same story all over again. So look for some panicky news about pandemic or epidemics connected to no easy panacea, no easy way to solve the problem. There, other thing that's happening this week, I'll get to the good news, is this is the asteroid Wuhan. Now, to see Wuhan here, which is about conquering, it is a war, it's a war city story about the overthrow of an emperor. Okay, fine. We can go with that. That's Lebanon's ascendant. Maybe there's going to be an attempt to overthrow some major figures in Lebanon, or, take out a Hezbollah leader, or something like that. But it's also Wuhan. We think of the lab leak. We think of the city of Wuhan. If you don't think lab leak, then you're not living in this realm, because that's no longer disputed. And here we have it. We have something to do with Wuhan here. So it's possible we're dredging through the old stories, but I doubt it. This is probably some new story that's going to be redolent or reminiscent of CVID, but not the same. I don't think we're going to have the same thing happen. I really don't. I just feel like there's going to be some kind of post-traumatic echo chamber happening this week about everyone being fearful of some rampant thing that would cause a lockdown, or something that can be out of control. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, somebody landed in Chicago with Ebola, and they wandered around the streets for 5 days before they got sick, and now there's contact tracing happening, right? I'm making stuff up, but you get the feeling of where I'm going. 2014's Ebola epidemic crisis panic attack, right, is back again in the astrology. There's a Jupiter Leo story returning again. Okay, and Leo rules heart and blood systems. Ebola is about the blood. All right, and that's what I've got for you, but here's the happy ending. This is Ops, the wife of Saturn, who represents happy times, happy endings, good things happening after a time of difficulty or constriction, or you can just say good opportunities emerging. So for this tension we're all having here, we may have something good emerging at the end of the day from Virgo. And of course, Mercury is the ruler of Ops. Mercury is the boss of Ops in his home kingdom of Virgo, and he's in the sign of Leo, where we also have Jupiter's sun. So there's probably something really positive that wants to emerge from the sky. We're going to have the sun and the south node together. I'll show you that to you. Jupiter and the sun and the south node. Okay, so Jupiter, sun, and south node have been together all the way through from until in Leo, all the way through till about the 22nd, and then the sun moves into Virgo on a star to do with kings called Regulus, which is now sitting at 0 degrees of Virgo. One last thing to say about the week ahead. We might see this look like a king problem, right? Mercury is news, south node is close enough by degree, not sign, that there may be things going on, I'd say, just on the weekend before August 20th to the 24th, and into August 20th until about 24th until about 28th, where we may see the death or loss of life, or stepping down from power of world leaders, or kings or people in power. So all of those are very active as well in about August, I'd say the 20th to about the 28th. All right, so that's some world astrology for you. Now we're going to move from world astrology, and we are going to talk about your sign. I've been talking for 25 minutes. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share and move over to the next section. Let's hope the next section, well, I won't. I'll keep going. Sometimes Riverside just cuts out. I may put this out as a separate video. Let me sit here and think about that. I've noticed that when I put all signs videos out, that's just all about you. Everyone loves them, and I get lots of subscribers. When I preface it with the week ahead world stuff, the results aren't nearly as good. So as I'm creating this for you on August 15th, I think I'm going to separate the two. It's just coming to me that that might be a better idea. Well, I don't know. In the comments, let me know, because I put a lot of work into the astrology here. And some of you guys just skip the whole intro section, and some of you only want it. So let me know what you think. Should I separate it out to feel good astrology for all signs separate from realistic world astrology? In the comments below, I'd like to hear your opinion about what to do about this conundrum I have. Thank you for your kindness on helping me figure it out. All right, let's start with Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And Stella, my intrepid editor, will at some point have how to read Sun, Moon, and Rising and understand the difference. Hello, guys. You always ask me, rising sign, sun, or moon. How do I listen to this thing in astrology? Well, your sun is who you really are. Think of it about your spiritual essence, your divine light, the flame of your soul that lives forever, takes on a body, and that body is the ascendant. You might think of your sun sign like the actor who plays the role in the movie. Your sun is the real you, and the role you're playing in the movie, well, that's your rising sign. You tend to look like that sign. You tend to act like the personhood of that character in the simulation. It is not your real self, but you need a vehicle for your spirit to express. And when we look at your moon sign, we think about how you feel and think about life, your happiness, your emotional blueprint, your subjective well-being. But you remember, the moon is only reflecting the light of the spiritual essence of you, the sun. So therefore, it's a temporary aspect or an operating system for your consciousness. I see a lot of the time that people's moon sign is really useful when you want to see how you're going to feel about this sky, but it also connects you very strongly to energies of home, safety, nest, and mother. The moon is that stuff to do with the nurturant part of reality. When we talk about your sun sign, it can be father related material, but also connections to your purpose and career. For your soul is inherited, is on planet Earth to do something, right? And we usually call that a purpose of some kind. And lastly, the ascendant, very sensitive to your body, very sensitive to the fates and the circumstances of life. That is where your rising sign is, how you showed up, took the first breath of life. What was the sign on the eastern horizon at the time of birth? That's what the rising sign is. And it's very accurate for delineating astrology, at least until the age of mid-40s. And we begin to move back into our true self, into our solar energy. And we'll notice that our sun sign becomes as accurate, or can be more and more actively useful for prediction. Already, sometimes you'll look at children for the first 7 years, and they're operating primarily on sun sign energy. So when you're looking at your kids, definitely listen for their sun sign over their rising sign. All right, guys, here's that short form. Take it away. Let's go into the chart ahead. So for Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign, the week ahead is opening up frustration followed by a golden opportunity of some kind. I feel like August the 24th, you're going to start to feel the grit under your shoe. It's going to feel a little bit like you're walking on sand, and you're not going to feel very happy about it. And in fact, it's interesting to watch Ops and Mars track each other and track each other and track each other. They keep talking about your opportunity is here. There is an opportunity. And because of the tracking of Ops throughout the first half of the week, no, through all the way till the 31st, right? Ops keeps saying there is an opportunity to make something good happen. Let's go into the detail of where the goodness comes from. Mars is in your fourth house of home, property, land, and real estate, and what you're doing in and from the home. And Saturn is the restriction that you're feeling. You're feeling a little bit heavy or responsible or dutiful, melancholic maybe. You might just be feeling like you've got to be more disciplined and perseverant, and Mars is like a go-getter in the fourth house. Maybe something you're doing in the home has to be pushed through. I'll be working on my 2027 individual 2-hour sign videos. That's probably me burning out. But you'll see that, right? Frustration energy. And there's also a feeling with this that you might want to get the hell out of your home. Mars here is, I want to run away from home. I want to run away from home. I want to go somewhere. Saturn is like grilling, what is it? The taskmaster is saying, you can't give up now. You got to keep pushing forward. And you're feeling the tension. And as you feel all this tension, the silver lining is ops. Ops is over here in the house of employees. I should get my employees to do my work for me. It's in the house of your pets. It's in the house of your rental agreements, and it's the house of your health and your work routines. Now, with ops over here hanging in your sixth house, there is some kind of happy ending golden opportunity archetype stuck in that sixth house. And sixth house is how we also take care of ourselves in the health area of our life. You know, if this grit and grind is taking a toll on you, maybe you can find something to really remedy it all by really tending to your health routines. That would be a good solution to what looks like a bit of a nervous breakdown you're having in the home, or because you want to escape the home. And with Mars in such rough shape because of the Saturn square, yeah, it's tough. It's a tough time for you. Most likely you're feeling, some of you could feel anxious. Some of you could feel frustrated, and some of you could feel like you're just burning out. So all of those feelings can be dealt with by the tending to the Virgo purity, care of your body, the health of your body, the routines of your body. This will make you feel a whole lot better. Now, sometimes I just want to say, Venus and Libra is trying to smooth everything out, right? She's like, I just want everyone to feel really peaceful up here, but she is not in charge of the square. So you've got to work with this particular energy yourself. Go back to April 19th. In the beginning of the video, I gave you the synodic cycle. April the 19th began what is now having its first testing. So what was going on in the middle of April is now being tested by you. So in the middle of April, I'll give me as an example. I was in the thick of creating content and launching my Divine Timing 5-week masterclass program, but also moving my house. Can anybody put up your hand and say, do you think moving your home, packing your boxes, hiring the movers, getting the cleaners in, dismantling the internet, promoting a 5-week course in May, and getting some of that content created for you, new courses were being created by me, all at the same time was a good idea? No, it was a bad idea. Mars-Saturn conjunct in Aries set me on a mission impossible, and I almost had a nervous breakdown, and I got very ill from it. I had an autoimmune condition flare badly. You may take cue from how you were dealing with the August energy April energy, because now you can do it differently. Now we can choose differently. How can you measure, pace yourself? There is Mercury, Sun, and Ops in the house of health. Be attentive to your work routines and schedule, and do your health maintenance here for all of you. And now you go, I'm not working. Fine. What do you do to be of service in the world that can help you get out of your own SHIT here? Be of service, Virgo, sixth house, to other people, and then feel that as a antidote to some kind of existential frustration about your very identity, about your very who you are-ness. If you can get away for a trip this week ahead, I would do it. I might go up to the mountain and do some what do you call it? Hot cold plunging at a spa up there, Whistler Mountain. I'm in Canada. But that would be a good idea, actually. That would be tending to my health. But it wouldn't be a good idea to just escape the home, right? For no good reason. For health reasons, to escape your home, take a retreat, take a time out would be a good idea. Or escape your home-based routines, another way of saying it. Let me know how that goes for you guys. Oh my God, I'm having a ridiculously hot flash. I'll be right back. Hello, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sky tells us you got a bit of sand in your shoe. It feels really uncomfortable because it has to do, for many of you, with your local environment, your neighbors, your neighborhood. Maybe things also connected here, the third house, to people that you were in your, city, town, village, and situations there. Like, this is where we are every day going about doing our thing. And we feel a little bit of grit and frustration with Saturn in the 12th house. Sometimes Mars is just a damn go-getter, and you might be wanting to go hang with friends at the pub and do this class that you signed up for in the real world or in the online world, or get some writing project finished, or maybe you're really grinding to move because Mars likes to move in the third house, pack boxes, get everything moved up so we can get you into that fourth house new home. And Saturn is just grit and maybe worry and anxiety, or maybe even just heavy-hearted energy as you are busy in the 12th house. Now, the 12th house is very contemplative. You want to, Saturn is the solitude guy himself, the one who likes to be alone. And you are not maybe getting enough of this downtime, alone time, this contemplative time. You might be too busy doing something, and it's frustrating and it's exhausting you at some level. And because Mars is with that, move it forward quickly, as best I can. That's his motto. He likes to take short distance trips, by the way. And for you, that is like, oh, I want to get away from it all. But Saturn's got another agenda. Saturn up here is focused also on things that you do that are your own undoing, like self-undoing, right? Neptune's up here as well. That, of course, can be addictions. So addictions and self-undoing, self-sabotaging strategies are kind of holding you back from moving forward in an easy way. Don't worry, we'll talk about this trine that's building up in my next week's story. I don't want you guys to focus on that. And so it's this focus point here that we've got our attention eyeballs on. But Mars also could be arguments with a sibling, conflict with a sibling, conflict with a neighbor, and it's taking a toll on your inner peace. You're taking a toll on your psychological well-being. And with all of this going on in the background here, the next thing you need to do is look to Ops for a solution. Ops is in Virgo, the sign that belongs to purity, but also to the house of enjoyment, the house of pleasure, the house of doing what's fun, the house of finding what inspires you, creative stuff, artistic stuff, entrepreneurial stuff. And we have a happy ending opportunity here. So I think I would lean into finding the things that you enjoy that truly satisfy you, even if it's just a hobby. We often see hobbies in the fifth house. And that time that you take to do the thing you love, to be available to your creative spark and your muse, can really restore the balance for most of you Tauruses. Even if you're in the middle of moving, for gosh sakes, then just get a coloring book and do some coloring at night. It sounds crazy. I should do that as my own prescription. What is the creative artistic thing you could just do at night, for example, that would really give you that ease, that enjoyment, the downwind that you're looking for, the pleasure that you're looking for? Of course, sex is a pleasure too. And you could find that the golden opportunity of the silver lining of mutual affection with a beloved can take some of the stress away that you're experiencing here. Don't forget, this is a part of the larger synodic cycle. Go watch the introduction. This synodic cycle began April 19th. So go back to the middle of April. What were you up to then? Were you moving your home? Were you moving into a home? Funny, my Taurus daughter had just moved into her new home in March and was still trying to find furniture for it. So you're going to think about mid-April, your life back then, what was happening. And did you feel a grit or a tension? Because even though that connection happened in the 12th house, it's now showing you what it's about. Maybe you also really struggled with self-undoing addictions and bad habits. Maybe you what's the word there's a name. What do they say in Alcoholics Anonymous? You rock bottomed. You bottomed out, right? Maybe there was a bottoming out on your own mental, emotional, and spiritual and physical self-undoing, wreckage of your life, saboteur of your own reality. And if you bottomed out or something happened in April, look back to that. You're seeing something that's going to awaken a testing point about a new way of being in life. But look to your creative, your artistic, your inspired, and your muse-driven elements. That is where it's going to bring you into much more joy and life force vitality that can infuse you, says the sun, with a kind of light that allows you to get through whatever this frustration is. August 24th, all the way to September 3rd, to be clear. And you're learning a much larger lesson that you're not going to finish learning, and we all are. You're not going to finish learning this lesson until April 2028. So buckle up for that, like deeper learning for all of you. I hope that fan isn't way too loud. I so needed that. I had like a complete, like it's hot in here and a menopausal meltdown. Okay, it is Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. First of all, yes, I can sort of relate to my progressed Gemini Sun. Your progressed planets are not as significant as your natal. Icing on the cake, says the progressed planet. Another layer of meaning, but your fundamental natal chart matters. So for you, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. All right, go back to April, of course. In the beginning, I explained April, you planted a seed that doesn't finish till April of 28. You planted it in your 11th house. What Geminis, for goodness sakes, are your long range plans, goals, dreams, and desires for your life. Your Kama house is asking you to have a dream and a goal and a desire that you wish to actualize in this lifetime. And you planted a seed in April, but it was a Saturn Mars seed. Mars was good to go. Saturn says, slow down. Finding the path between speed and slowness is part of what you're here to learn in the next 2 years in the actualization of a long range goal, plan, and dream. Boy, can I relate to that, though, because I have 100 plans for the books, the new podcast, this and that I'm dreaming into being, and I can't do it all at once. So it is the patience quotient with the action plan that you must master by 2028 April. Now, on top of that, there is a way that the 11th house is about the gains of our career. And so that you're looking for a new strategy between inspired action and patience and discipline for the gains of one's career in general, including the monetary gains. And that seed that was planted in April is blossoming is finishing by April of 28, but it's having its first testing, the first opening square. The opening square is here, Mars in a money house, earnings, resources, and Saturn in the 11th house where you hatch that dream. To me, it feels a lot like you're trying to outpace yourself in professional activities that generate money. It feels like you're trying to go too quickly. And Mars is like, I'm just going to speed swim here. I'm going to take my speedboat. I saw somebody on a water jet ski the other day going so fast that it was ridiculous. If that jet ski had crashed out somehow or he got flung from that jet ski, that person would have died badly. You know, he was slammed into water like concrete. So the speed doesn't always serve us, even in water. So Mars is very intense here. His emotions are high. He's a little bit over the top, and he's probably trying to go way too fast. Okay, so slow it down. Take the opportunity in something to do with career gains and the temperature, speed, and velocity of how much you are driving yourself forward in order to make some earnings, money, and job stuff happen. I will probably slow down the production of the 2027 individual all signs bundle because I gave myself an artificial deadline. Tell any journalist about deadlines. We give it to ourselves all of the time, and I always keep mine, which is dumb. They'll get done when they're going to get done. So I will take my own medicine. I just gave it to us. Oh, the happy ending, the silver lining. Ops is over here, Miss Pineapple Goddess, wife of Saturn. Here's your happy ending. It's in your home. It's in the purity of your home. It's what you do mindfully in your mind in the home. It's about your dreaming at night. It's about your sacred home life. How can you lean into vitalizing yourself within the home itself? This is where your midnight hour is. Could you read books at night? Maybe you could take hot baths. Maybe you could meditate. Maybe you could go to bed early. Purity in the home, health in the home, caretaking of self in the home. It is the antidote through this entire stretch of the next week ahead into early September for what is a grinding pace connected to career gains, actualizations of dreams and wishes, and the pace by which you're trying to accomplish it. You may be making a major life decision about an elder sibling or a situation to do with your work as well. Watch for that decision making to feel hard for you. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be nurturant and be Virgo-y and pure in your home. This would be a good time to purify your diet and your food style. Whatever goes in your mouth, it's Mars saying purify in the home. Make it happy. Make a happy gut. Make a happy face. You are what you eat. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. You're going to notice that you are the Martian component of the sky. Mars is in your sign. He'll be here a long time till the end of September 28th. And you're going to be very much the girl or guy who can fly off the handle emotionally. You might just have these moments in time where you completely lose your shit. Sorry to say so. But on the other hand, you're going to have the courage to feel your feels. This is where Mars, the warrior, he's an emo warrior. It's okay to cry. It's okay to yell. It's okay to do whatever. I think there's nothing wrong with anger. Anger expressed is healthy. Otherwise, it becomes depression. Anger launched at another person is an attack. Anger simply felt and experienced and released is healthy for you. So you're going to have to learn to feel and heal, right? Feel it to heal it, but at the same time, be watching yourself this week ahead, especially because frustration in the workspace, in the career space, is at an all-time high. Mars is working hard. He's like lap swimming at high speed. He's in a race. He's in a, what do you call it, a sprint in the swimming pool. And Saturn has got drag on his sprint. Saturn is like, slow it down. Saturn is like, are you crazy? You're going to hit the wall at the end of that swimming pool. For frig's sakes, be careful. So there's tension here. Saturn is wise and sage-like, except that he's fallen in Aries and he's trying to help Mars. He's doing Mars's bidding. So this is where you don't know your own limits in professional endeavors for most of you. If you're retired, what are you doing in the world that you're working too hard at? And at the same time, watch for fevers. I know it sounds crazy, but Mars rules rashes, fevers, blisters, things that are bubbling on your body. So you could be really hitting a bit of an illness mark this week ahead, and you just have to slow down because you're too sick to work. So, you know, when kids don't want to go to school, they get sick. Sometimes they pretend they're sick. Sometimes they really are. We have a pattern in life, all of us, of having to force a time out in our lives because we take time out only when we're sick. The body is wise. If you get sick, it's time to take a break. In the work pace that you've been keeping, and yes, some of you could want to quit your job under the sky, and you just might do that. What did you plant in April? Because April's seed was up here in your 10th house. That seed said, I want a new beginning in my work and career direction that's stable and long lasting, but also I get to be excited and passionate and ambitious about it, Mars. And so now you're trying to find the happy balance in the first ever testing zone. As the happy ending ops also says, hey Mars, tracking with them all week long. Let's find the solution to that heavy-hearted Mars here in the third house of travel, short distance travel, writing, sibling relationships, local neighbors and neighborhood events and things you might do in the hood. This is where the soft spot is. This is where the purity is. And this is where the happy ending lies. So by leaning into the third house, you might feel an offset from whatever this professional tension is about. I can see a journey locally might be a very good story, or some time with your extended family or neighbors or siblings, or a writing project, or just journaling your frustration. Writing, Virgo, third house is writing. Yes, it is. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. All right, so, okay, grit, right? The gritty feeling of Saturn, Mars square, both fallen. First of all, the beginning of the story in April was the energy of what you began to seed in your ninth house. It'll take 2 years to fulfill. You seeded something connected to your ambition, connected to higher education, foreign lands and shores, international travel, court and justice and legal stories, and the meaning and purpose of your life. Yeah, no small feat. That seed was planted in April. Think about all the themes I just mentioned. The first testing is this week ahead. The week ahead testing tells us that you are in a gritty turning point, crisis moment to do with the 12th house. Quite often that's your own self-sabotages. That can be addictions. That could be self-undoing. That could be your own negative thought patterns and beliefs, because this is also dragging you down from ancestral and past life stuff. When I see Mars here squaring Saturn at a psychological level, you have a frustration that has a lot to do with things that are not easily available for you to understand. You might be feeling frustrated, anxious, angry, pent up in some way, and not even sure why, not even understanding the deepest reasons for it. It's really hard for most people to understand the 12th house because you have to investigate it. You have to dream journal, meditate, pay attention to your inner life. You might want to travel, but there's frustration. You might want to go to a foreign land or distant shore. There's a wasp outside my window for you. What do you, I don't think it's a bee, but there's a stinging creature on my window. What stings you in your life right now? What feels like a wasp buzzing in your ear? Because yes, this could definitely look like, F it, I'm going to go traveling abroad. Yeah. But there's so much grit here, and it might just be a reaction. It might be a feeling, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Mars rules your fourth house of home, property, and real estate. Similarly, you might be feeling a need to move, and you need to move with a sense of frustration about where you're currently living. Because we have an opportunity, a silver lining at the end of it all with ops, there is this beautiful silver lining kind of happy ending in the money house. But you don't get money coming from pennies from heaven, not under the sky. You get that money from something you're connected to in your earnings and livelihood story. This is also extremely powerful to look at your what goes in your mouth or nose that could be addictive. Mars is cutting through the addictions house and he's looking at the silver lining over here. If you have struggled with any kind of substance misuse or abuse or whatever disorders, this is a very purifying week ahead. It's great for a cleanse. It's also great for going off to rehab. Yes, Amy Winehouse 101. Go get the rehab song. And there's something about you cleaning it up, basically. If that's something you need to do, many of you Leos won't have that problem. Jupiter's helping you be wise and all-knowing anyway and get what you need out of life. I think that you might want to take time here with this Virgo sky to really purify your diet, whether it's, let's take the addiction out, right? Forget that stuff. Just the purity of Virgo in the house of what you eat is important. The panacea is funny over there in the house of sickness, but it can be that the cure all, the remedy for what ails you is all dietary. If you're going through any kind of problem with your health, look to dietary changes, food style changes, and the opportunity to be better and maybe less pent up. There's a lot of pent up energy at the subtle psychological level in your sky at this time. Hey Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Guess what? You are going to be experiencing the happy ending yourself. I got to start with that. Ops is here. Yay, you. But let's talk about the basic story. Silver linings, happy endings after time of travail. Personally fulfilling for every Virgo out there. But the grit, the square, uh-oh. So start back in April where you planted a seed in your eighth house of chunky money, other people's money, shared resources with a spouse, money from inheritances, money from alimony, spousal support. Now, there was a seed planting here in April, and now the energy is a square of frustration or delay because Mars is trying to move forward. You may be entitled to some money that you want to use, but you can't spend it yet, and you want to spend it or use it for career advancement. You might want to spend it for education, to learn something for professional advancement. You might want to use some kind of money connected to a sibling, one older. There's just frustration. And this energy is like, you know, it's a stalemate. It's a hitting a wall. It's a wall. It's also connected to addictions because this is go sober with an addiction in a very deeply karmic house. This would drag stuff out of your past lives and or your childhood that you're confronting regarding self-undoing and overdoing it on any kind of food style. Don't worry, you will find the solution. We do have panacea, Venus in the sign of balance in what you put in your mouth. Mostly I look at that beautiful energy of ops and know that you feel like you've come August the 24th through until about September 2nd, 3rd, you're coming through a happy resolution of a time of difficult travail, right? Travail, I love that word. So travail, after a time of great travail, she has come out on top. You know, there's that feeling that the Virgo queen is on her purity throne and has figured it out. This is your body for Virgo rising. It's a really good time for you to take care of your health and find the happy ending solutions after a time of difficulty physically as well. And I do want to say that the energy is trying to vitalize you, right? Your Mercury, your ruler later in the week, the sun, is trying to restore you. So you can feel this restoration you energy physically and vitality wise beginning to show up around the 24th of August and going through till even September the 3rd. Ultimately, that seed you planted around money can lead within 2 years to a major inheritance or spousal separation agreement or some kind of large amount of money coming your way. Okay, I must tell you that Jupiter, ruler of the fourth, says legacy well, money from somebody who is in your family of origin or from your spouse, but lots of money or your in-laws coming at you. You'll be much more rich 2 years from now than you are now. So hang in there. That includes divorce settlement monies as well. Let's talk, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Almost nothing bothers you right now. Venus is in your sign. You're attractive, you're happy, you're genial, everyone loves you, you love you. All said and good, wonder bar. That said, there's still the grid in the sky. Go back to April. You planted a seed. You planted a seed of new beginnings here in your long-term committed love house. You know, you might have made major changes since then. You might have gotten engaged, gotten married, moved in with somebody. You might have decided to, you found somebody and started to see them. You met them. You're not sure what it's for. So we're going to go back to April. That seed that was planted does not complete its story until April of 2028. This is its first testing, 1, 2, and there's tension between your work and career and your relationship. Now, it can be that you don't have a relationship, so it's career with a customer, a legal matter and work, or an audience member, but you are up here working hard. I look at you go. Maybe falling, maybe not doing so well, maybe working too hard, maybe too much ambition, too much speed, and Saturn would slow you down for sure. And he's trying to do that, but Mars is the boss of him. So, you know, you might be trying to put form and structure into your legal agreements, contracts, career matters, even things to do with real estate and property, and form and structure and agreements as well. And yet there are delays or frustrations here. Yet the long game story will work out. You know, it feels to me like there may be somebody in your life who is a Saturn Neptune person as well. It could be an elder, it could be somebody who's got mental health issues, a cognitive decline, or even just a spouse with a addiction habit problem. Those are possibilities. And there's a big turning point energy at the top of the sky where you're feeling all of that intensity. Like you might just want to bust out and like scream, we're getting a divorce, or this is enough, or, you know, emotions run high in the public sphere in front of the world. You may want to blast out some kind of I quit in a relationship. No, not, or even a corporate relationship, a client relationship, a business relationship, or a partnership, or a long-term love relationship has a lot of quitting vibes going on here. But I don't know that you're going to do that. I don't think it's going to happen. I will say that. It's emotion, not reason, that's running the show, and it will be a bad week if you're struggling in a long-term relationship, and it won't last. And you've got that harmony diplomatic approach to undergird it all. You'll notice that the energy of your 12th house provides the happy ending solution, because Ops in Virgo, she's like, I've got this. We're going to find the happy ending. I know we can find it. Silver linings are everywhere I look. And it's your alone time. Yes, I mean, don't fight solitude. Find alone time to be your restoration, your revitalization. What is alone time? Because some of you don't even know. Libras, you're so busy socializing in a way. It's like accommodating other people. It can be nothing more than going on a retreat, like a couple of days. It can be alone time because you've got a new household rule that when I'm in the bathroom taking a bath, the door is locked and don't even try to reach me. It could be alone time because you turn your darn phone off and you stop taking messages. You need solitude, quietude, and stillness to be restored and to be recalibrated. And you're going to find the silver lining will show up there. You'll find the ways and means for that silver lining to bless you here. And your dreams at night are incredibly powerful in the next week or so. So pay attention to nocturnal dreams that illuminate something very true and good for you, something you need to know or understand about your tension here. Particularly also, finally, Mars is like every 2 years, he's in your 10th house. Every 2 years, you might either want to quit your job or overdo your job, right? So here you are until September 28th in that mode. And I just find that Saturn might be other people telling you to slow down and you're resisting that. So if you're being told to slow down and you can't slow down if you are in a big work story right now, then there is something that Saturn would say, like slow down, and Saturn exalts your 4th house, and you know the solitude house is angular, is trining. So slow down, take some time out, and restore yourself in self-nurturant, home-based, or solitudinous activities this week ahead. Oh, because at the end of 2 years, April of 28, you're either in a brand new long-lasting relationship, you've ended a difficult one that wasn't right for you, but you're making those 2 years count, right? April of 26 to 28, you're figuring it out. End of story. Hey, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Go back to April of 26. because through till April of 28, you have germinated a new story, a new beginning, and a fresh start. Looking for your dream career, looking for a dream come true in the work, job, money, earnings area of life. Good news, with Jupiter's help through till next August, you'll figure it all out. In the meantime, what I see here with this Saturn Neptune germination in April is that you planted that seed for some kind of stable, enduring, reliable backbone of a job situation. And Neptune would ask you to find something that's visionary and feels like a dream that you wish to make real. But it's not always so easy because Saturn is in exile here, is fallen here. And so there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be delays in your vision coming true. Now, I will say, and I'm going to get away from that Jupiter trine because we're not focused on that till next week. We're going to stay as much as we can with this week right now. I will say that the feeling I have for you guys about this square energy between Mars, yikes, and Saturn is I'm feeling like what you want to do, or you should be doing, if you were if I was in your shoes, is paying attention to the speed at which you're mobilizing versus what's a reasonable pace, and what you're speeding toward here with your speedboat in the Cancer Lake, right? Is you're speeding towards accomplishing things in the ninth house. That can be publishing, that could be podcasting, that could be things to do with your international travel, things to do with your sibling two older than you or four younger in birth order. All of these people, places, and things are moving at a breakneck pace of Mars in high-speed water, while Saturn is trying to slow everything down. Ultimately, you will have a health problem hit you out of this square. This square has already been active. I know Scorpio just crashed and burned. This has already been active already in a whole sign way since Mars entered into the sign of Cancer in August, early August. So this is still getting to a fever pitch, so to speak, as we get into August the 24th to the 31st. Lawsuits and battles in court can be taking a toll as well. So legal, what do you call that word? Not the word lawsuit. Going to fight in a legal situation. There's a word for it. Well, not lawfare, but you could call it lawfare. That's not what I was looking for. But you might be engaged in some lawfare here, and it might be also taking a toll. What's the solution? Ops says happy endings after time of travail and a silver lining are available to you in the Virgo 11th house. Well, the Virgo 11th house is usually our social networks and friends, as well as our career gains. But particularly our social networks and friends are up here, and they're all, very vitalized with the sun coming in there, then Mercury right after. So spending social time, Mercury's a social beastie, man. He loves to socialize. In fact, he will join the fray here. Yeah, so when we get to like August the 25th, it's like, okay, that's a Tuesday. Let's let the party start. Fun times with groups of belonging and friends, engaging with social community and social group is where you find healthy, purifying silver linings of some kind. Now, you could also look at that as a place of connection to a sibling one older than you in birth order, for example, might be a very good resource for you to kind of disconnect from this frustration energy you're feeling here. Don't forget, you don't finally solve this whole story of your perfect dream, stabilized work, job, career, money story. You don't stabilize it anyway until April of 28. So this is where patience is your ally, not your enemy, and calm, patience, and wise deliberation is a strategic advantage. Nothing happens overnight under this kind of sky. Everything feels like a struggle. Take some deep breaths. Finally, because you have ops and a silver lining in the 11th house, if there's something going on in your current work environment that's just not tenable, there may be an opportunity emerging that's going to resolve that. Because I noticed that the 11th house is like somebody has a position of favoritism and power, and like they can be like a real ally for you, a benefactor. So look for some information or news as someone offers you something that feels like a relief, including a windfall. I know that's a big thing, but there's a way in which some money can come to you in this window of time, this week starting around the 24th to the 31st, that feels like a boon or a bounty that allows for you, whether it's legacy wealth or a commission check or a bonus check for work, some kind of money coming in a installment maybe. Mercury sounds like a chunk of money, and this could really soothe you and make this frustration seem a lot better. Look for that potential in the week ahead. Let me know if any of that happens for you guys. I'd love to hear back. Hey, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Guess what? Sky is opening up a gritty sand in your shoe moment. Maybe it feels like glass. You are looking at Mars in the 8th house, which is a difficult house to begin with. It's usually where we have shame, betrayal, abandonment, infidelity, and some of the darker trauma stories. It's also our chunky money that we have because we have inheritances or spousal shared resources or divorce settlement money or royalty checks, stuff like that. So there's Mars. He's squaring Saturn in the 5th house of children and romantic love. Well, first of all, when it comes to children, there may be a really harsh frustration with a child or that your child is experiencing, including a child's frustration and experience of some difficulties regarding their domestic or home or private life, and even a child who wants to move from where they live. So a child wanting to move. And all you are doing is watching that child go through this struggle. But you can see the struggle. You don't necessarily have to experience the struggle. In fact, Lord Jupiter is trining you, which makes you feel quite good about your life right now. But on the other hand, maybe there's some struggles as well with anything to do with a romantic or sexual love partner, and some deep hidden secrets that are now coming out, some revelations of information between you and that person that are difficult for you to come to terms with, that feel like emotionally difficult for you to come to terms with. For example, 5-8 axis can bring infidelity disclosures or things like that. So I'm just going to tell you what I see. You might be, so your partner might be telling you they want a divorce or serving up a divorce summons or something like that. So I know it's heavy, but I have to tell you what I'm seeing, right? I have to tell you honestly what's here. Now, the good news is that your career is offering some, if you have a career, your career is offering a bit of a silver lining. You're going to have a lot of excitement up here. Mercury, Sun, and golden lining, silver lining, happy times after difficulty is up here. And it's very pure. It's very purifying virginal energy in Virgo. And Mars is flowing to that. There could be some very positive financial developments connected to your visible reputation and career that is going to uplift you. But I will also add father figures. And in this case, particularly an elder. So an elder father figure could be coming up as a financial ally, giving you a financial respite or a financial solution. And I said father figure, which it mostly is, but Saturn also says it can be about siblings and sibling money as well, supporting you in some positive way. Especially a sibling one older than you in birth order being a source of financial resource for you in this week ahead. This feels to me like you are really announcing something exciting as well. Something that's like you want to announce to the world this week, something positive about your life in general. It could be anything about your life. Mercury says you could announce that you're getting married, you're getting divorced. Rules your 7th house. Either way, you're totally happy about it. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Tell me about your story. I am now sitting in my autistic way, because when you have autism, we have issues. I don't know. I've read about it all over the place. We must sit with our leg up on chairs. I've been doing this since I was a child, got in trouble in school, got trouble in restaurants, whatever. This is my thing. So get used to it, guys. Autism 101. Get that leg up and lean on my leg. Someone told me it's core strength. Why am I confessing this to Capricorn? I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting ready to take a walk to the beach and get out of my seat here. All right, Capricorn, I want you to go back to April of 2020. I told every sign to do this. I hope I didn't forget someone. It's in the intro. April 2026 to April 2028. You're working on a seed planting. The seed planting is taking place in one area of life. It's taking place in your 4th house, home, property, land, and real estate. You're on a mission for 2 years to find a home that's lasting, that you don't want to leave, that's a dream home, and then you're excited and passionate to move to. End of story. I don't care if you lived in the same house for 50 years. There's something going on here. Right? You might build a new home, structure a new home, buy a new home, sell a home, find a new home, rent a new home. I don't care. All of that's in motion for 2 years. Now, the opening act, this began in April. The opening act, the first testing point is this week. And there's a bit of frustration. Mars, who was co-joined with Saturn here and in good shape, is now in bad shape. And there's some kind of difficulty. And the difficulty is connected to other people in your life. Your relationship to them or their own realm of reality, I don't know. So let's say you're married, and then your spouse is Mars. Your spouse can be very contrary, aggressive, conflictual. And it's about home, property, land, and real estate. If it's not a spouse and you're in a dating relationship, as long as it's significant, then that person is in a fiery, feisty, emotional overreaction about almost everything. Swimming in the Cancer water. It's like somebody in the swimming pool who's drank way too much champagne and is now belligerent. And you're like, can you back off already? You know, well, they're not going to back off because they're looking at you, Capricorn, and they're not in a good mood. And that Saturn square is making them feel edgy, anxious, and angry. No, it can be that there's a lot of conflict about the domestic life or about property, land, and real estate, or about who's doing what in the home, or about an elder living in the home, including a spouse's family member, in-law, or something. Whatever this is, it just feels like somebody wants to snap in your life. You're not snapping. It's not happening in you. You're over here doing your thing. You're like, yeah, whatever. My ruler's down here working with the home base question mark. Maybe you feel a little isolated or exiled in the home. Maybe you feel a bit too alone. Maybe you can't admit that you really don't like the people you live with, or that you just want to be alone and you're frustrated. These are Saturn fourth house things that every Capricorn might be feeling. Mars is your exaltation lord, and you've given him away to somebody else. Like the lord that exalts you is busy exalting another person. Is it the business partner? Is it the marriage partner? Is it the long-term partner that you're seeing or dating? Mars can also bring separation and cutting, and there can be a crisis this week ahead, a big one in a connected relationship where there may be a severing, and it probably won't be under your control. So heads up, forewarned is forearmed. Your silver lining is in the ninth house of foreign lands. Ops is up there. She's like, do you want to go to a foreign country? Go travel, go on a pilgrimage, do the El Camino, travel the world. Or here's a solution, she says. Go to university, or hire a lawyer. Maybe you're working on spousal separation problems, hire a lawyer. Or she says, Mercury is a patron protector of travelers. Take a trip, go on a journey, have an adventure, take some time out. Because no matter what you do here, the solution isn't in your hands. It belongs how you respond or react. Responsibility, your ability to respond to life's grit, is what matters. And also, I forgot to mention, a sibling 3 older or 3 younger than you can be involved in the grit as well. But you are not the grit. You are responding or reacting. It's up to you. That's your week ahead, Capricorn. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Week ahead story is full of glass shards in your flip-flops. Glass shards are in your flip-flops, and you're walking through it anyway. Just like you're walking on coals, you'll do anything because you are Aquarius Spock mind, and you could like bypass the pain. You're good at that. I know you because I'm one of you. Well, we have the story of a seed we planted in our third house back in April. What kind of seed? A new beginning. How long to take it to get to happen fully? April of 2028 is when you get that seed fully matured. It can be a seed to do with your neighborhood. You want to move to a new home, a new neighborhood, a new area of your city or town. It can be a seed about a writing project. It could have been a seed about a new website, a teaching project, a learning project, a new seed regarding sibling relationships or short distance travel. All said, that was a seed you planted back in April. Now you're faced with the first testing of that seed, and that seed wants to go the distance and be a dream come true. So that's an important seed you planted in April. I'm trying to think back to mid-April for me, what I was up to planting a seed. The biggest seed I planted was my Divine Timing Masterclass. So I decided in April to launch it. Don't even ask, right? Given I was moving my home to a better neighborhood, but I don't think I've landed to the right neighborhood yet. So this is my testing ground. So I'd say I planted a seed for a vision of teaching 3 courses a year: Sky Reader, Map Maker, and Code Breaker. That seed was planted in April. I also planted a seed for a better neighborhood. I'm in a new neighborhood since April, as of June, but it's not the right one yet. So here's the testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, testing. The grit is in the house of work, job. The house it's in the great, it's Mars in the gritty place of rental property, landlords, leases. And I'm ready to cut my lease, guys. You won't believe some of the stuff going on in this badly built building. And Mars here is in the house of employees. So You might have some disputes in employee-employer relationships, some gritty tension with regards to rentals, some gritty tension in regards to situations to do with your work and your work routines, especially if you work in the online space. And there is something else going on here. There is this feeling that you could be coming into some frustration regarding situations to do with animals and pets. Now, I don't have a pet, so I can't relate, but there can be this kind of pet crisis or glass in the pet flip-flop story. There's something going on, maybe even with the health of one of your animals. This is a house of sickness, and this is where I'm going to give you a warning. This is the week you get ill. You get the rash, the fever. Hopefully you don't injure yourself. Hopefully you don't crash your car into a telephone pole. I don't know. So be very careful this week ahead, fellow Aquarians. This is where the frustration of trying to move too fast in a work, money, career space connected to limitations, Saturn in the local environment, mean like catching the flu in your local neighborhood, or, bumping your car into a garage or something and having to deal with that problem. There's lots about this that says go slow, take time, look inward, and be patient. Your impatience and your frustration will be the cause of a flare of an illness. No, nothing life-threatening at all. Just who needs to get sick, right? It's a preventative warning for all of us Aquarians, especially rising. Now, the other thing to pay attention to, please, is that you have a happy ending in the 8th house of chunky money. I'm not going to parse that. Chunky money's coming to you. That's a silver lining. Mercury rules the house of good fortune. Jupiter's busy ruling the house of windfalls. There can be, despite all the hard work and grit, some kind of financial blessing that shows up this week ahead that kind of takes the edge off of everything and allows for some freedom and some solutions to emerge. And, opportunity pineapple goddess here with the vitalizing sun and Mercury, the news, right? And the ticket holder. Yes, you could win some money, but you don't have to win money even. You just might get some big chunks of it coming your way. One-time payouts, massive Google ad on YouTube. Maybe I'll have a stellar Google AdSense revenue moment where I'm like, I can't believe I'm closing out the month at this level of ad revenue. This is so exciting for me. It could be something as simple as that, but the chunks of money that you can get can bring you a sense of silver lining and joy and happiness after a time of some difficulty. If any of you are in the enlightenment spectrum, if you're working with your spirituality, lean into dissolving that ego, spending some time in your spiritual realm of recognition of the stillness and the peace that you are. This can be you going into that realm for solace and solitude and time out, and allowing for some superior spiritual peace, no matter what this is about, this grit here. You're ruled by Saturn, so when he's under the weather, it's never great for you, but you need this Saturn here because whether he's an Aries or any other sign, he comes here every 2.5 years, every 30 to help you with third house matters. Finally, I forgot to mention, one of your siblings, if you have siblings, may have a challenge with their health this week ahead. May not be your health. It may be the health of a sibling that's on your radar. That's all. And you're watching a sibling go through a challenge and you're just being very supportive. And finally, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. Last but not least, what a sky for you, because you are dealing with a seed that you planted in April of 2028. That April of 2028 seed is specifically trying to generate within 2 years, April 26 to April 28, a stable financial life where you have the money, the food, the shelter, and the resources you need to thrive, not just survive. And Neptune says, can we have a dream come true version? Can we have a visionary idea of what we want in the long tail, the long game of our money stories? Really good for fortifying and changing your dietary habits and making your facial appearance a dream come true, especially if you're aging. But all said and done, it's mostly about money and earnings. And in the way to making this dream come true, you're squaring off this week with some glass in your shoe, so to speak. This is definitely Mars energy, that you're having a conflict with a sexual romantic partner. You're coming into a sexual illness. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, because this is like, yeah, can be like that. Like, hopefully you don't catch an STD this week ahead, but any kind of illness connected to sexual encounter, or you're having some challenges with finances vis-a-vis the life of one of your children, hopefully an adult. And when I say children, I don't mean like your kid's piggy bank is, not full enough and they're arguing with you. I mean, like, here's an adult child who needs some help. You're the backbone to help them, are you? You might want to, because Mars is your ruler here. Mars is ruling that Saturn. You're doing a thing here that is kind of, if you have a hobby or an entrepreneurial business or a side hustle, especially if it's, something you're passionate about, anything, writing, acting, marketing, selling, entrepreneurial stuff, and you're really, really going for it, like you're full bore, you're like competitive instincts high, you're going for the thing you want to do. Saturn is like, slow it down already. You're going to burn this out. This is too fast. This pace is speedboat hitting the water in a speedboat crash, hitting the concrete of water, because you're going way too fast. The ambition is not matched by the pace that's possible here. Slow down your pace. If you feel frustrated by anything, maybe you want to go faster, but you can't, there's not enough happening. That's the same feeling. The pace is meant to slow at this time, of something to do with the way you make money. There's a silver lining with your spouse. There's a silver lining with your audience and marketplace and your business partners. And this silver lining is ops. She's going to show you the way this week ahead. She's going to show you how to feel into the happy ending. If I were you, I'd leisure travel and take a getaway trip with a significant partner, because this would be this story here. I would find more fun and pleasure with my partner. I would find more satisfaction and joy and enjoyment of my long-term partner in love, in my, marriage type situation, than be grinding here in what looks like a hustle to make money. This would be ideal for a getaway, a romantic trip away. If not, make the romance happen at home, says Mercury. Let's create a love nest in the bedroom. Because there is passion here. Mars is just working too hard to accomplish money making, but why don't you transform his ardor and passion and sexual energy in Cancer to nourishing, intimate, and caring sexual reality with someone you care for? Now, if you're alone and you don't have a partner, that's fine. I wouldn't start a relationship under the sky by any means. You're going to bake in hardship with Venus-Saturn opposition. I'm just saying, if you're with somebody, find the tender moments with that person. Now, if you don't have somebody in your life, you're not going to find any tender moments with that person. So ignore the advice. Just go away. The advice is not useful to you. The fifth house is where we want to experience sexual, romantic, intimate love energies, right? That's all it is, but if you're going to do it with someone that you love and care for, great. But if not, then you could do it by yourself, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And it's interesting because Saturn, sort of the blocking energy of all of this passion that could be had, he rules the house of bed pleasure. So there's a little bit of like bed pleasure frustration maybe happening here for some of you. Again, August the 24th. Through to about even the 3rd of September, some of these narratives are playing out for you. Conversations you have with significant long-term love partners or romantic partners can be very helpful as well. The solution is communication, so that this frustration isn't always happening. And lastly, you could have a disagreement with a significant other or romantic dating type partner about money. End of story. I think I said that in the beginning, and it may really be for you a cause for a breakage, right? Mars is like a fracture, a break, a sever in romantic relationships that are having issues because of matters to do with finances and your money. This is your money here. Jupiter's trying to help you out and get you a job or get you employed or find you a rental property. He's doing his own thing over here, one that you can afford, by the way. And it could end up looking like you could sign a rental contract or an agreement sometime August 25th to September 3rd for a rental home if you're looking for a home to lease. That's what I've got for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. We're going to go ahead now and do the extended members version, in which I'm going to talk about the world astrology for the week ahead with a real keen eye for speaking freely to some of the calamity I see that might be emerging. And right after, that's at the end of this video, but right before that, can go check out me talking about Sky Reader in a little bit more depth and sharing some of the website with you. I hope to see some of you guys in class in September. It may be truly the last time I teach this class, and I'd love to see you in the classroom with me. Take care. Hello, Astro Curious Soul. This is your overview of Sky Reader, and I wanted to tell you a bit about the program. I'm going to show you the website that I'm hosting it at, lothian.com. I want to share a bit about my excitement for this course and why I think it might be right for you. First of all, if you're one of those people who watches all of my videos and then ask me these very intelligent questions in the comments all of the time about why this and why that and how this and how that, then you're probably already ready for this course, because it is your curiosity about how to read the sky. That is what Sky Reader is for. Astrology is about the map of time. It's so simple. It's like a GPS of time. And once you learn the basic language of your natal chart, then you'll learn some easy to use timing tools that even a beginner can learn with me. You're going to begin to navigate your reality with a better flow, a better ease, a better kind of sense that you know how to move through the world in a way that has your best interest at heart, because you're flowing with the things that are happening anyway. You're moving in the direction that the sky is taking you. So instead of resisting, instead of digging your heels in, or even going in a misdirection temporarily, the universe always course corrects. You can move wholeheartedly with great faith in the universe into the path that the sky is opening for you. Now, life is full of ups and downs, and astrology can't take those away. So even learning to read your sky doesn't mean you learn to avoid any of life's normal storylines. It means that you now have your eye on the ball, you have your heads up of timing your best life. And sometimes timing your best life is nothing more than being able to navigate what you can see coming and respond to it in a more mature, aware, and present way. You know, I had this big calamity happen a while ago, and I could see that I was being grabbed by the sky. And this interpersonal difficulty wasn't just about the other person. It was about the sky playing out in the real world, real-time sky, relative to my personal Aquarius rising natal chart. And because I realized it was just the sky playing out, I was able not to become interacting with the ordeal in a reactive way. So there's a lot of really good ways you can use astrology to do your life better. A lot of my students come back every single year. If you take my class once, you get to take it again and again forever. Plus, you get to keep the content as well and upgrade yourself. And when you come back as a student for the second time, it is 75% off, which is incredibly amazing, given that each time there's new content and new guest teachers, as well as, of course, me teaching you to read your own sky and time your best life. So this is the website, lothian.com/sky-reader, if you want to find that way, or just Google lothian.com and Sky Reader, and you'll find this page usually showing up in the search engine. Now, throughout the month of August, we have our early bird discount rate of $397. The course is $555, and that is actually a deal for the 7 weeks with me, plus the live calls and the Q&As, plus moderating staff, teaching staff, helping me, and a Facebook group and a Discord group this year as well. Now, read your own sky, 7-week foundation. Here you go. I'm not going to redo this. This is a little video of me explaining it to you that's already uploaded to the website. Now, you can do monthly installments in payment plans if you need to, if money is any issue for you. For those of you in really deep need, like, you know what I mean, like needs-based tuition kind of discounts, you'll have to reach out to my team, and you'll see that the information for that will be available here on the website, but it would be hello@inbox.lorylothian.com. But really, the course is already well priced. So here we have me with a funny picture of me. Thanks, team. I love it. I look like I'm very happy, and I'm wearing white. Isn't that sweet? And then one of the things I will show you about, not the whole sales page, is what the program is actually about. So here's some of the outline of the actual material. As you can see, we have what I call the big four. You're going to learn about the most. This is the second class. The first one is your absolutely slow start, super kindergarten hand-holding level to introduce you to the very basic tenets of how to read a sky, what the sky looks like, and what the ingredients of the sky are made out of. So that's your overview course. Some of you may not need that. Some of you may have been well established at astrology already, and for you, this will be extremely boring. But everyone who knows me knows that I think that the foundations in a beginning class, just understanding the language right away, is going to be crucial. You're learning a new language like French or Greek or whatever, and you're not going to get it all at once. It's going to take time, just like osmosis, like more exposure to it. So this is our week one slow start overview. And then we move into the course itself. You can go to the website and click the details, the big four of the 12 houses, planetary dignity, planets and aspects, time lords, helmsmen, and annual profections. Now, this last part of the course, this is your golden ticket to success. You might think you know about, for example, annual profections. Well, I've been teaching annual profections for years, and I've got some insider trading tips there for you about how to use it in a way you may not have heard of before. And it's so easy to use that you could teach your kids and children and, friends and fam to use it once you get the lay of that land. And solar returns, of course, the birthday chart. Everyone loves their birthday chart. It gives you a whole snapshot of everything that happens at a given age. Again, I've taught this class many times, and I've also done this for clients for 7 or 8 years, and you'll be learning a few things you won't find anywhere else about how to read that solar return chart and understand what happens in the year. Everything about this course leads to how to time your life. This is not a course that's teaching you how to navel gaze. I'm not here to show you the quirks of your personality in the simulation called life. I'm not here to help you navigate your past and talk about why it happened. Those are not the courses we're teaching. We're teaching you how to read the sky so you can use the GPS metric of the sky, astrology as a map of time to time your best life. So this is a course that teaches you to become an forecaster or a navigator of reality in a more successful way. So reminding you of that. I get people in this class who want to talk about my Chiron, or my Pluto. And I'm like, nah, no, we don't do that. This is not going to dive into your archetypal, character in the simulation, your wounds and stuff like that. We're learning to teach you how to time your life in this particular class. All right. Now, this is my 7th year teaching, as a lot of you know, so I've gotten to know a lot of the issues that come up, and that was just one of those issues that is routinely showing up. We have 7 core classes. We have 28 actual sessions. We have teaching team Q&A plus me on my own Q&A. So you've got a couple Q&As to choose from per week. We change the time. So everywhere in the world, you'll probably be able to make one. Everything I do has a course replay. Everything I do is loaded into the teaching platform for you to keep forever. If you can't make the live classes, if you can't make any of the Q&As, you can still come and learn from me. However, I'm not reselling this course. I have never resold this course as a self-study. So if you really want to jump in, this would be your chance. These are, and I always say I may not teach it next year. It's always possible with 2 books in my on the shelf to finish, 2 books to finish, 1 astrology, 1 spiritual awakening, and actually 1 fiction book. I would like to get those written in the next year. So just be aware of that. This can be an introduction to my next course next year, Mapmaker, and also Codebreaker. In other words, this would give you the basic understanding to jump into my more intensive and more advanced courses next year. Now, I have guest workshops every year. Last year, I had 4 teachers. Now I have 6. This is just bonus content. This is just extra material for you to enjoy. So we begin on October 1st. Every Thursday, we have guest teachers. And I will see if I can figure out where on my website that my team put that. But just so you know, those guest workshops will teach you some very fundamental, fun things to do in astrology. So here we have it. 6 ways to see where it can lead. Lovely, lovely team headlines here. So one of my colleagues and students, former students, Sinette Caldwell-Barr, is doing the 4 Purushara. I always can't say this word, Purusharthas, and this is a great tool of understanding where your purpose, your prosperity, your spiritual liberation, and your pleasure and your money stuff lie in your chart. So I think you'll enjoy that. It's easy to learn. It's very powerful, and it really does help you see how to navigate life. Mel is going to be teaching where in the world you might want to live or travel based on astrology and how you can look at your astrocartography chart. And we'll also have Laura Basseni teaching about the Cosmic Wellness Blueprint. She is a health coach, but also a medically trained astrologer, like medical astrology, and you'll learn some basics about finding your own energetic elemental and modality elements for better health and wellness, and also prevention, I suppose. Donnie Lim, my colleague, who's very much an expert on all things Venus. You guys may have seen him on my channel with me doing world astrology. He's really fun to hang with. Is teaching the divine feminine cycles for timing, okay? Divine feminine cycles and timing. And so he'll be taking you down the Venus conversation road for her cycles and how to use that in your life for all ways to move forward, especially with love and pleasure and desire and money. Justin McClure is an electional astrology teacher today for us in our course, and he will teach you how to choose the best time to launch your business, make that phone call, hire that lawyer, whatever, get married, etc. Electional astrology teaches you some of the basic understanding that when you begin something, then you set in motion that thing forever. In other words, it bears like a birth chart stamp. So knowing when to launch something into motion is important. It's funny, a lot of us astrologers on YouTube do this all the time. When we want to do something big and splashy or promote something, we'll look for a very good sky and a very good time of day in that sky to put it out for you guys on YouTube. So you'll also notice all of a sudden every astrologer is emailing you on the same day. A lot of us are using electional times. Tara and Renee will be teaching us the cosmic magic of numerology when you blend it with astrology. I love this combination. I've been doing this for myself for years. So if you want to learn how to illuminate your reality by making these two pieces of the real estate, numerology and astrology, two occult disciplines come together, that's your ticket to fun. All of these courses on Thursday evenings, okay, at 6 p.m. Pacific time, are available for you for replay and self-study, and you get to keep them forever. But if you attend live, of course, you can ask questions for the teacher and be engaged in a live learning process. Now, just alone, these courses would be easily costing a couple $100 for 6 courses. So you can see what a deal Sky Reader really is. We come together every single Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Adjust for your time in Europe. Usually you guys are 8 hours difference than we are in Pacific time, but ask Siri, Google, or timeanddate.com, etc. So you know exactly when we're coming together. And here we have a lovely little schedule drawn up of all of the times for everything to happen. You could just take a look at that by going to the website, screenshot it or whatever, but there you are. So we may not repeat this live edition. I always say that. You always never believe me, but there will be a point, 7th year teaching, you get the 7-year itch, which is a Saturn cycle, that I may have to take a break in order to write some of these books that I need to get done or that I want to get done. So go ahead, Facebook group, Discord group. It's not where I'm monitoring your homework, but you do get homework. It's where you got collaboration and support from my moderators, encouragement. You can tag me or my moderators for help, but I'm not there checking your homework like you're being certified by me to become an astrologer, but it is a very useful group. Other students ahead of you or former students will probably be there. People help each other when you're confused, and my moderators will also be astrologers who are also supporting you when you have questions about what you're doing. Nobody in this course is doing the work for you. You do get homework. It's totally optional. It's to practice the methods you're learning as you learn them. All right, so here we have it. We're at the end of it. These are some great people who decided, my students, to give me some wonderful testimonials over the years in the various classes I've taught. You're seeing a lot of my last class group, the Divine Timing Masterclass. Give me some commentary there, but Sky Reader, people come back every year to do it over and over again because it actually is a lot of fun. So I hope some of you will consider joining me, and I am so excited. We have a nice little gathering of 29 countries and 325 students already signed up, and we are well supported to make sure that you have a good time and that you don't get lost as you go along. I do have staff, I have teaching assistants, but it is me in that Zoom room for 2 hours. It usually ends up being 2 hours every single Saturday. And I'm also available in one of the weekly Q&As of the 2 each week. All right. Thanks, guys. Don't forget, this is just an overview. Hopefully it gives you some lay of the land. Go to LoriLothian.com/sky-reader.
Lunatic astrology.